The massive Tok spaceship materializes in Earth's orbit, its hull gleaming against the backdrop of stars. Urgent messages broadcast across every frequency, a cacophony of alien syllables that send Earth's governments into a frenzy. Before world leaders can formulate a response, the vessel's belly opens, disgorging hundreds of escape pods. They streak through the atmosphere, fiery comets scattering across the globe. In New York City, Nicholas Williams jolts awake as his apartment ceiling caves in. Debris rains down, revealing a metallic pod embedded in his living room floor. Heart pounding, he approaches the alien object. With a hiss of depressurization, the pod splits open. Inside lies Vega, a Tok female. Her form is humanoid, yet unmistakably alien. 4 breasts swell painfully from her chest, visibly engorged. Her skin ripples with iridescent hues, a kaleidoscope of distress. Large, luminous eyes lock onto Nicholas. She gestures frantically at her chest, desperation evident in every movement. Nicholas hesitates, confusion warring with an instinctive urge to help. Vega's gestures grow more insistent. Understanding dawns. She needs to be milked. Swallowing his trepidation, Nicholas approaches. As his hands make contact, Vega sighs with relief. Her skin shifts, colors calming as the pressure eases. Across the globe, similar scenes unfold. Pods crash through roofs and smash into streets. Humans emerge from homes and offices to find Tok females in dire need. Those brave enough to approach discover the alien's urgent requirement. Government officials scramble for answers. Scientists huddle over data streams, piecing together the puzzle. A grim picture emerges. A mysterious plague has decimated the Tok male population. Without them, females have no way to relieve their biological imperative. Earth is their last desperate hope. As Nicholas continues to milk Vega, he notices changes. Her skin gains a radiant glow, her overall health visibly improving. Reports flood in from around the world. Humans assisting Tok experience similar effects. Theories of a symbiotic bond spread like wildfire. Military leaders voice concerns. Is this a hidden agenda? An invasion by other means? But as Vega activates a translation device, her words paint a different picture. Without you, we die, she explains, voice tinged with both gratitude and fear. Our species will be lost. Nicholas learns the Tok females require regular milking to survive. More intriguingly, their milk contains properties beneficial to humans. It's a revelation that sends shockwaves through scientific communities and corridors of power alike. As news spreads, humanity fractures. Some eagerly volunteer to assist the aliens, moved by compassion or curiosity. Others protest, fear of the unknown driving them to demand the Tok's removal. Nicholas finds himself torn, growing attachment to Vega warring with concern for humanity's future. Government agencies spring into action, organizing programs to match volunteers with Tok females. Behind closed doors, whispers of weaponizing the alien milk circulate. The first day of this unprecedented event draws to a close, humanity poised on the brink of a decision that will forever alter the course of 2 species. In his apartment, Nicholas looks at Vega, questions swirling. What does this mean for humanity? For him? As night falls on a changed Earth, one thing is certain. Nothing will ever be the same again. As night gave way to dawn, Nicholas stirred from a fitful sleep. His eyes opened to find Vega watching him intently, her luminous gaze filled with a mix of curiosity and concern. The events of the previous day rushed back, and he sat up, taking in the alien's appearance. Vega's skin pulsed with a vibrant, healthy glow, a stark contrast to her distressed state when she first emerged from the pod. Her 4 breasts had refilled overnight, visibly swollen and taut. Without hesitation, Nicholas approached her, understanding her unspoken need. As his hands made contact with her skin, a sense of warmth and connection flowed between them. Vega's eyes closed in relief as Nicholas began the now familiar process of milking. They communicated without words, a language of gestures and expressions developing between human and alien. Outside, the city was coming to life, the hum of traffic punctuated by distant sirens. The world was grappling with its new reality, and New York was no exception. As Nicholas finished helping Vega, his phone buzzed with an urgent notification. Attention all citizens, report to designated milking centers for registration and health assessment. This is a mandatory order from the United Nations Alien Interaction Task Force. Nicholas's heart raced as he read the message. He looked at Vega, who seemed to sense his unease. Together they prepared to venture out into a changed world. The streets were a cacophony of chaos and curiosity. People crowded around newsstands, their faces a mix of fear and fascination as they absorbed the latest headlines. Holographic displays flickered with live updates from the emergency United Nations session. As they approached Central Park, Nicholas and Vega encountered a sea of humanity. The newly established milking center dominated the landscape, a sprawling complex of white tents and high-tech equipment. Lines of humans and tok-tok snaked around the perimeter, some eager, others apprehensive. Security personnel in crisp uniforms directed the flow of people. Nicholas and Vega joined a queue, acutely aware of the stares and whispers around them. Nearby, a group of protesters waved signs denouncing the alien presence, their chants adding to the carnival-like atmosphere. Inside the center, the air hummed with activity. Medical staff in protective gear moved efficiently between stations, conducting tests and gathering data. Nicholas caught snippets of conversations, talk of symbiotic relationships, and miraculous health benefits. As they waited, a tall, muscular man approached them. "First time here?" he asked, his voice friendly. "Name's Jason Cooper. Got assigned to a tok-tok named Lyra. Best thing that ever happened to me, if you ask me." Nicholas introduced himself and Vega, curiosity piqued. Jason rolled up his sleeve, revealing a jagged scar. "Old war wound. Used to give me hell. But since I started milking Lyra, pain's gone. It's like magic." Their conversation was interrupted by a commotion near the entrance. A group of men in dark suits swept in, flanking a stern-faced individual with military bearing. "That's General Marcus Blackwood," Jason whispered, "head of the Alien Interaction Task Force. Looks like things are getting serious." As Blackwood surveyed the center, his gaze lingering on the milking stations, Nicholas felt a chill run down his spine. The general's expression was unreadable, a mix of fascination and something darker. Their turn for assessment came, and Nicholas and Vega were ushered into a curtained area. Dr. Sarah Chen, her lab coat crisp and her manner brusque, began a battery of tests. As she worked, she muttered under her breath, her skepticism evident. "We don't know enough about the long-term effects," she warned Nicholas as she drew blood. "This milk, this miracle cure everyone's raving about, it could be changing us in ways we can't predict." Before Nicholas could respond, excited voices erupted from the adjacent area. "Breakthrough!" someone shouted. "The milk! It's showing potential to cure cancer!" The news spread like wildfire through the center. People began clamoring for access, their voices rising in a frenzy of hope and desperation. Security guards struggled to maintain order as the crowd surged forward. Amidst the chaos, Nicholas felt a hand on his shoulder. He turned to find a nondescript man in a dark suit. "Mr. Williams," the man said quietly, "I'm Agent Smith. We need to talk." Smith led them to a quiet corner, his eyes darting around to ensure privacy. "The government is very interested in your particular arrangement with Vega," he said, voice low. "We're prepared to offer you a substantial sum for exclusive access." Nicholas felt Vega tense beside him. Without hesitation, he shook his head. "She's not for sale," he said firmly. Smith's expression hardened. "Think carefully, Mr. Williams. This is bigger than you realize." With a final, meaningful look, he melted back into the crowd. As they left the center, the world outside seemed to have shifted yet again. News vans lined the streets, reporters jockeying for position. A sea of smartphones turned towards them, capturing every moment. "There they are!" someone shouted. "The first registered pair in New York!" Nicholas and Vega found themselves surrounded, a barrage of questions assaulting them from all sides. Microphones were thrust into their faces. Cameras flashed incessantly. How does it feel to be part of history? What's it like living with an alien? Is it true the milk cures diseases? The questions came rapid fire, leaving no room for answers. Nicholas instinctively moved closer to Vega, shielding her from the press of bodies. As they pushed through the crowd, he caught sight of a familiar face. Reverend Thomas Hartley, his eyes blazing with righteous fury as he led a group of protesters. "Repent!" Hartley shouted, his voice cutting through the din. "The end is nigh! These aliens are a plague upon humanity!" The clash of opposing voices grew louder, tension crackling in the air. Nicholas felt Vega's hand tighten in his as they navigated the chaotic scene. Somewhere in the distance, a siren wailed, adding to the sense of a world teetering on the brink of change. As they finally reached the relative safety of Nicholas's apartment building, both human and alien paused, catching their breath. The events of the day swirled in Nicholas's mind, a whirlwind of revelations and unanswered questions. He looked at Vega, seeing his own mix of emotions reflected in her alien features. Whatever came next, they were in it together. The world was changing, faster than anyone could have imagined, and they were at the heart of it all. As night gave way to dawn, Nicholas and Vega found themselves thrust into a whirlwind of attention. Their status as the first registered human Tok-Tok pair in New York had spread like wildfire, turning them into overnight celebrities. The sun had barely risen when the first reporters arrived outside Nicholas's apartment building. Camera flashes illuminated the street as journalists jostled for position, shouting questions and demanding interviews. Nicholas peered through the blinds, his heart racing. "We can't stay here," he said, turning to Vega. Her skin rippled with anxious hues, reflecting his own unease. As if on cue, Nicholas's phone buzzed. It was Dr. Sarah Chen, her voice tense. "Mr. Williams, we need to move you and Vega to a secure location. A car will be there in 10 minutes. Pack only essentials." They hurried to gather their belongings, the clamor outside growing louder by the minute. As they slipped out the back entrance, Nicholas caught a glimpse of Reverend Thomas Hartley leading a group of protesters, their angry chants adding to the chaos. The sleek black car whisked them away from the city, heading north. As the urban landscape gave way to rolling hills, Dr. Chen briefed them on their destination, a secure research facility upstate where they would join other human Tok-Tok pairs for an intensive study. Upon arrival, they were ushered into a state-of-the-art complex. The lobby bustled with activity as researchers in white coats hurried past, their arms full of data tablets. Nicholas and Vega were led to a comfortable suite, where they found a moment to catch their breath. As night fell, Nicholas awoke to find Vega in visible distress. Her skin pulsed with urgent colors, her 4 breasts swollen to an alarming size. Without hesitation, he moved to help her. As his hands made contact, a jolt of sensation passed between them. Vega's eyes widened, meeting his gaze with a look of surprise and something deeper. Nicholas felt it too, a warmth that spread through his body, intensifying as he continued to milk her. The next morning, Dr. Chen gathered all the participants in a large conference room. Nicholas recognized Jason Cooper and his Tok-Tok partner Lyra, as well as several other pairs he didn't know. "Welcome," Dr. Chen began, her tone serious. "You're here to help us explore the full range of human Tok-Tok compatibility. We'll be pushing boundaries, so I need your full cooperation and open-mindedness." She outlined a series of bonding exercises designed to strengthen the connections between humans and Tok-Tok. As the day progressed, Nicholas and Vega found themselves engaging in activities that ranged from synchronized breathing to extended periods of skin-to-skin contact. During one particularly intense session, Nicholas and Vega sat face-to-face, their palms pressed together. As they synchronized their breathing, Nicholas felt a surge of energy flowing between them. Vega's skin shimmered with vibrant colors he'd never seen before. "Remarkable," Dr. Chen murmured, monitoring their vital signs. "The physiological changes are off the charts." As they broke contact, Nicholas caught Vega's eye. There was a new depth to her gaze, a connection that went beyond words. He felt drawn to her in a way he couldn't explain, his skin tingling with the memory of her touch. Later, during a break, Nicholas overheard a conversation between Jason Cooper and Dr. Chen. They spoke in hushed tones about classified experiments ordered by General Marcus Blackwood, hinting at even more intimate forms of human Tok-Tok interaction. Nicholas's mind reeled with the implications. He looked at Vega, seeing his own mix of curiosity and apprehension reflected in her alien features. Whatever lay ahead, they would face it together. As night fell on the third day since the Tok arrival, an air of anticipation settled over the facility. Dr. Chen announced that the next morning would bring their most intensive bonding session yet. Nicholas lay awake in bed, his thoughts a whirlwind of questions and possibilities. Beside him, Vega stirred restlessly, her skin pulsing with colors that seemed to mirror his own emotions. As he reached out to comfort her, their hands intertwined. A spark of energy passed between them, hinting at depths of connection yet to be explored. Outside the facility, the world continued to grapple with the changes brought by the Tok arrival. But within these walls, Nicholas and Vega stood on the brink of a new frontier in human-alien relations. As sleep finally claimed them, they drifted off into dreams of a future neither could have imagined just days ago. As the first rays of sunlight crept through the windows, Nicholas and Vega stirred from their restless slumber. The air in the facility hummed with a palpable energy, a sense of anticipation that had been building since their arrival. Dr. Chen's voice came over the intercom, crisp and urgent. "All participants, please report to the main laboratory immediately. We're ready to begin." Nicholas and Vega exchanged a glance, a wordless communication passing between them. As they made their way through the corridors, they found themselves walking in perfect synchronization, their steps matching without conscious effort. The main laboratory was a hive of activity. Researchers bustled about, adjusting equipment and checking readouts. At the center of it all stood Dr. Chen, her usual composed demeanor tinged with excitement. "Thank you all for coming," she began as the pairs assembled. "Based on our latest findings, we believe we're on the cusp of a breakthrough. Today, we're going to push the boundaries of human-Tok interaction further than ever before." She gestured to a large circular chamber dominating one end of the lab. Its walls were lined with an array of sensors and monitoring devices, giving it the appearance of a high-tech cocoon. "This chamber has been specially designed for our most intensive bonding session yet," Dr. Chen explained. "We're looking for volunteers to be the first to explore this new frontier." Nicholas felt a surge of nervous energy. Before he could second-guess himself, he raised his hand. "We'll do it," he said, glancing at Vega for confirmation. She nodded, her skin rippling with a mix of anticipation and apprehension. Another pair stepped forward, Marco and Zara, whom Nicholas recognized from previous sessions. Marco was tall and lean, with an athlete's build, while Zara's Tok form was more compact and angular than Vega's. As the four entered the chamber, Nicholas's heart raced. The air inside felt charged, as if the very molecules were vibrating with potential. Dr. Chen's voice came through a speaker, guiding them through the process. "We'll start with a more intimate milking session," she instructed. "Remember, the key is to remain open and receptive to the connection between you." Nicholas turned to Vega, their eyes meeting. He placed his hands on her swollen breasts, feeling the familiar warmth beneath his fingers. As he began to milk her, something felt different. A tingling sensation spread from his hands, up his arms, suffusing his entire body. Vega's skin began to glow with a soft, pulsating light. Nicholas felt his own skin responding, a faint luminescence matching her rhythm. The air around them seemed to shimmer, as if reality itself was bending. Across the chamber, Marco and Zara were experiencing a similar phenomenon. Their bodies moved in perfect harmony, surrounded by a halo of gently pulsing light. Outside the chamber, Dr. Chen watched the monitors with growing excitement. "Incredible," she murmured. "The production of beneficial compounds in both species is off the charts." As the session progressed, the energy in the chamber intensified. Nicholas felt as if every cell in his body was alive, vibrating in tune with Vega. The boundaries between them seemed to blur, their consciousness merging in ways he couldn't fully comprehend. Suddenly, a surge of energy enveloped them. The chamber filled with a blinding light, and for a moment Nicholas felt as if he was floating, untethered from his physical form. When the light faded and his vision cleared, he gasped in shock. His skin now had a faint iridescent sheen, reminiscent of Vega's. He flexed his fingers, marveling at the new strength and flexibility he felt. Beside him, Vega's form had subtly shifted, her features taking on a more human-like quality. Dr. Chen's voice came through the speaker, filled with awe and excitement. "This is unprecedented. We're seeing a physiological melding between human and Tok biology. The implications are staggering. As they exited the chamber on shaky legs, Nicholas caught sight of their reflection in a polished surface. The changes were subtle but undeniable. He and Vega now looked like perfect hybrids of their species, a living bridge between two worlds. The facility erupted into a flurry of activity as researchers scrambled to document and analyze the results. Nicholas and Vega found themselves at the center of a whirlwind of tests and examinations, each revelation more astounding than the last. As night fell, exhaustion finally overtook them. Retreating to their quarters, Nicholas and Vega sat in comfortable silence, processing the day's events. Their new shared biology seemed to have enhanced their nonverbal communication, allowing them to convey complex emotions and thoughts with just a look or a touch. Just as they were settling in for the night, a faint sound caught Nicholas's attention. His newly enhanced senses picked up movement outside the facility, stealthy, purposeful movement that set off alarm bells in his mind. Vega tensed beside him, her skin flickering with warning colors. They locked eyes, a silent understanding passing between them. Something was wrong. In that moment, as they prepared to face an unknown threat, Nicholas realized that their journey of discovery was just the beginning. The true test of their newfound abilities and the strength of their bond was about to begin. A series of explosions rocked the facility, shattering the silence of the night. Nicholas and Vega sprang into action, their enhanced senses immediately alert to the danger. They rushed out of their quarters, only to find chaos erupting in the hallways. Alarms blared as researchers and staff scrambled for safety. Through the confusion, Nicholas spotted Jason and Lyra racing towards them. "It's Agent Smith!" Jason shouted over the din. "He's here with a strike team!" The four of them moved as one, their shared experiences creating an unspoken bond. They navigated the maze-like corridors, guided by their heightened awareness of their surroundings. As they rounded a corner, they came face to face with Agent Smith and his team. The agents, clad in black tactical gear, raised their weapons. "Stand down," Agent Smith commanded, his voice cold and authoritative. "You're coming with us." Nicholas felt Vega tense beside him, her skin rippling with defensive patterns. He placed a hand on her arm, a silent signal to wait. "We're not going anywhere," Nicholas replied, his voice steady despite the adrenaline coursing through his veins. The standoff stretched on, seconds feeling like hours as both sides assessed their options. The air crackled with tension, neither willing to back down. Suddenly, a blinding light filled the hallway. Nicholas instinctively shielded his eyes, feeling Vega do the same beside him. When the light faded, he blinked away the after images to find an astonishing sight before him. In the space between the two groups stood a cluster of Tok, their forms more regal and imposing than any Nicholas had seen before. At their center was a female Tok whose presence commanded immediate attention. "I am Zalia, Supreme Matriarch of the Tok," she announced, her voice resonating with authority. "I have come to oversee the integration of our peoples." Agent Smith lowered his weapon, clearly caught off guard by this unexpected development. His team followed suit, their training momentarily overridden by the sheer impossibility of the situation. Dr. Chen arrived on the scene, breathless but composed. "Matriarch Zalia," she said, bowing slightly, "we are honored by your presence. Perhaps we could move this discussion to a more suitable location." Zalia inclined her head in agreement. As they made their way to the main conference room, Nicholas noticed the facility staff staring in awe at the Tok delegation. Once settled, Zalia wasted no time in addressing the situation. "We have been monitoring the events on Earth closely," she said, her gaze sweeping the room. "While we are pleased with the progress in human Tok relations, we are concerned about the conflicts that have arisen." Dr. Chen seized the opportunity to present her latest findings. "Matriarch, if I may," she began, activating a holographic display. "We've made significant discoveries regarding the physiological changes in Nicholas and Vega." As Dr. Chen detailed the extent of their transformation, Nicholas felt Zalia's intense gaze upon him. The matriarch's skin pulsed with colors he couldn't quite interpret. "This is most intriguing," Zalia said when Dr. Chen finished. "It may well be the key to the long-term survival of both our species." Before anyone could respond, the door burst open. General Blackwood strode in, his uniform impeccable despite the late hour. "What's the meaning of this?" he demanded, then stopped short at the sight of Zalia. The matriarch turned to face him. "General Blackwood, I presume. Your arrival is timely. We were just discussing the future of human-Tok-Tok relations." As the night wore on, the conference room became the stage for intense negotiations. Proposals and counterproposals flew back and forth, with Nicholas and Vega often called upon to provide their unique perspective. "A joint human-Tok-Tok defense force," General Blackwood suggested, his eyes gleaming with the possibilities. "Think of the advancements we could make together." Zalia considered this. "An intriguing proposal, General, but there is more at stake here than military might." She paused, her skin shifting to a deep, solemn hue. "Our homeworld is dying," Zalia revealed, her voice heavy with the weight of her words. "We seek not just cooperation, but a new home. We propose a gradual, cooperative colonization of Earth." The room erupted into a cacophony of voices. General Blackwood's face darkened with concern, while Dr. Chen's eyes lit up with scientific curiosity. Nicholas felt a wave of emotions from Vega, hope, fear, and something deeper he couldn't quite name. As the debate raged on, Nicholas noticed Agent Smith slipping out of the room. The agent's face was unreadable, but Nicholas sensed he was up to something. Outside, the first light of dawn began to creep over the horizon. News of the Tok-Tok Matriarch's arrival had spread, drawing crowds to the facility's perimeter. Supporters and protesters alike clamored for information, their voices a distant roar. Inside, the negotiations continued, the fate of two species hanging in the balance. Nicholas and Vega, exhausted but alert, found themselves at the center of it all. As they exchanged glances, Nicholas felt their bond growing stronger, hinting at further changes to come. The facility hummed with tension and possibility as humans and Tok-Tok alike grappled with the monumental decisions that lay ahead. As the new day dawned, Nicholas couldn't shake the feeling that this was only the beginning of a much larger journey. Adventure. As Nicholas drifted off to sleep, his mind swirled with the events of the day and the uncertain future that lay ahead. The next few days passed in a blur of negotiations, tests, and heightened security measures. On the fifth morning, Nicholas awoke with a start, his skin tingling with an unfamiliar sensation. He glanced down at his arms and gasped. Faint patches of bioluminescence dotted his skin, pulsing gently in the dim light of dawn. "Vega," he whispered, gently shaking his partner awake. "Look at this." Vega's eyes fluttered open, and Nicholas found himself staring into irises that appeared more human-like than ever before. The changes in their physiology had accelerated overnight, pushing them further along the spectrum of human-Tok-Tok hybridity. Dr. Chen burst into their quarters, her face a mixture of excitement and concern. "We need to run some tests immediately," she said, ushering them towards the lab. "These changes are progressing faster than we anticipated." As they underwent a battery of examinations, Nicholas overheard snippets of conversation from the adjacent conference room. The negotiations had resumed, with Zalia's voice carrying clearly through the walls. "We propose the establishment of joint colonies," the Tok-Tok Matriarch was saying, "remote areas where our species can coexist and explore the full potential of our relationship." General Blackwood's gruff voice followed. "I see the strategic value, but we'll need strict oversight and control measures in place." Before Nicholas could hear more, Dr. Chen redirected his attention to a series of brain scans displayed on a nearby monitor. "The neural pathways in both of you are reconfiguring at an astonishing rate," she explained, her fingers flying over the touchscreen. "It's as if your brains are rewiring themselves to accommodate new forms of communication and sensory input." A commotion outside drew their attention. Through the lab's windows, Nicholas saw a crowd gathering, their faces turned skyward. Following their gaze, he spotted a massive ship entering Earth's atmosphere, dwarfing any Tok-Tok vessel he'd seen before. Zalia's voice came over the facility's speakers. "My fellow Tok-Tok and human allies, I bring news of great importance. This ship carries thousands of our males, preserved in stasis. We believe them lost to the plague, but they represent our species' last hope for natural reproduction. The revelation sent shockwaves through the facility. Nicholas watched as humans and Tok alike reacted with a mixture of hope, fear, and uncertainty. The dynamics of their interspecies relations had just shifted dramatically. Dr. Chen's eyes lit up with a new idea. "This changes everything," she muttered, more to herself than to Nicholas and Vega. Then louder, "We need to explore the full potential of human Tok compatibility. Would you be willing to participate in an experimental mating program?" Nicholas and Vega exchanged glances, a silent communication passing between them. They nodded in unison. "We'll do it," Nicholas said. Within hours, they found themselves in a specially prepared chamber, along with Marco and Zara. Under the watchful eyes of medical staff, the two couples began to explore the boundaries of their interspecies intimacy. As Nicholas and Vega connected, he felt a surge of energy unlike anything he'd experienced before. Their minds seemed to meld, thoughts and sensations flowing freely between them. The room filled with a pulsating light emanating from their bodies, growing brighter and brighter until it forced everyone to shield their eyes. When the light faded and Nicholas could see again, he gasped. His body had transformed further, now a perfect blend of human and Tok features. Beside him, Vega had undergone a similar change. They were no longer simply human and Tok. They had become something entirely new. The facility erupted into chaos as news of their transformation spread. Dr. Chen and her team scrambled to document and analyze the changes, while political leaders engaged in heated debates about the implications. Outside, the situation was growing tense. Reverend Hartley's followers had gathered in greater numbers, their protests becoming more aggressive. Nicholas could hear their chants even through the facility's thick walls. As night fell, Nicholas and Vega found themselves sequestered in a secure area of the facility. They could sense the turmoil surrounding them, the excitement of scientific discovery, the fear of the unknown, and the simmering tensions threatening to boil over. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the building. Jason burst into their room, his expression grim. "Agent Smith's team is trying to extract you," he said, motioning for them to follow. "We need to move now." As they raced through the corridors, Nicholas could hear the sounds of conflict echoing through the facility. The newly formed human Tok security force, led by Jason and Lyra, clashed with Agent Smith's covert team. They rounded a corner and came face to face with Agent Smith himself, flanked by several armed operatives. The agent's eyes widened as he took in Nicholas and Vega's transformed appearance. "Stand down," Jason ordered, his voice firm. Agent Smith's gaze darted between Jason and the hybrid couple. "You don't understand the potential here," he said, his voice tense. "We need to secure them for further study." Before the standoff could escalate further, Zalia's voice rang out over the facility's speakers once more. "I call for an immediate emergency session with Earth's leaders," she announced. "The successful hybridization we have witnessed represents our best hope for survival and evolution. We must accelerate our integration process." The declaration seemed to hang in the air, momentarily freezing everyone in place. Nicholas felt the weight of countless eyes upon him and Vega, their transformation now the focal point of this interstellar drama. In that moment of hesitation, General Blackwood appeared, his presence commanding immediate attention. "Stand down, all of you," he barked, then turning to Nicholas and Vega, his eyes gleamed with a mix of awe and calculation. "You two, come with me. We have much to discuss about the future of our species, both of them." As they followed the general, Nicholas sensed they were standing on the precipice of monumental change. Their transformation had opened doors they never knew existed, but it had also painted targets on their backs. Whatever came next would shape not just their lives, but the future of two entire worlds. Species. As Nicholas and Vega followed General Blackwood, the facility erupted into a frenzy of activity. The dawn of the sixth day brought with it a startling revelation. Dr. Chen burst into the conference room, where Nicholas, Vega, and the general were discussing the implications of their transformation. "It's happening everywhere," she exclaimed, her eyes wide with excitement. "We're receiving reports from milking centers across the globe. Other human Tok pairs are undergoing spontaneous transformations. General Blackwood's brow furrowed as he processed this information. How widespread is this phenomenon? Dr. Chen pulled up a holographic map, dotted with glowing points representing confirmed hybridization events. It's spreading rapidly, sir. We're struggling to keep up with the incoming data. Nicholas and Vega exchanged glances, their newly formed telepathic link buzzing with shared amazement and concern. They could sense the ripples of change emanating from each point on the map, a testament to the profound shift occurring in human-Tok-Tok relations. As the day progressed, the facility became a hive of activity. Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly, analyzing data from the global transformations. Nicholas and Vega found themselves at the center of numerous tests and examinations, their bodies serving as blueprints for understanding the hybridization process. The variability is astounding, Dr. Chen muttered as she reviewed the latest results. Each hybrid pair is developing unique traits. Some exhibit enhanced physical abilities, while others show advanced cognitive functions or empathic powers. General Blackwood, ever the strategist, saw the military potential in these developments. He pulled Jason and Lyra aside, their bodies now a perfect blend of human and Tok-Tok features. I want you two to start training a new generation of hybrid soldiers, he ordered. Your enhanced abilities make you the ideal instructors for this program. As Jason and Lyra began preparations for their new assignment, a commotion outside caught everyone's attention. Agent Smith and his team had launched a pre-dawn raid on the facility, intent on capturing Nicholas and Vega. Alarms blared as security personnel scrambled to repel the intruders. Nicholas and Vega, their senses heightened by their transformation, sensed the approaching danger before anyone else. They're coming for us, Nicholas said, his skin pulsing with bioluminescent warning signals. Vega nodded, her newly developed muscles tensing in anticipation. We need to defend ourselves and protect the others. As Agent Smith's team breached the facility's outer defenses, Nicholas and Vega sprang into action. Their movements were fluid and coordinated, their minds working in perfect synchronization. They engaged the first wave of attackers, their enhanced strength and agility proving more than a match for the trained operatives. Jason and Lyra soon joined the fray, their combat training amplified by their hybrid physiology. The four of them formed a formidable defense, pushing back against Agent Smith's forces. The battle spilled out into the surrounding area, drawing the attention of nearby civilians and media. News helicopters circled overhead, broadcasting live footage of the hybrid beings in action. Reverend Hartley, watching the events unfold on television, saw an opportunity to further his agenda. He rallied his followers, leading them in a massive protest march towards the facility. "Brothers and sisters," he shouted through a megaphone, "we must stand against this abomination. These hybrid creatures are an affront to human purity." As the protesters clashed with law enforcement near the facility, Zalia, the Tok-Tok Supreme Matriarch, made a decisive move. From her ship in orbit, she activated a hidden defense system, enveloping the facility in a shimmering energy shield. The sudden appearance of the alien technology sent shockwaves through the crowd. Some saw it as protection, others as an act of aggression. The situation teetered on the brink of chaos. Inside the shield, Nicholas and Vega made a startling discovery. Their hybrid physiology allowed them to interface directly with Tok-Tok technology. Acting on instinct, they accessed the ship's communication systems. "We need to reach out to everyone," Nicholas said, his mind racing with possibilities. Human, Tok-Tok, and hybrid alike. Together they crafted a message of unity and cooperation, their thoughts merging into a single powerful broadcast. As their words echoed across the globe, something extraordinary happened. Human Tok-Tok pairs worldwide began to transform. The message had triggered a surge of hybridization, creating thousands of new beings with unique abilities and a deep understanding of both species. General Blackwood, witnessing the incredible potential of the hybrids, made a controversial decision. He ordered his human Tok-Tok combat units to protect the facility and the newly transformed hybrids. "Defend this facility and all hybrids at all costs," he commanded, his voice firm with persistence. "We're witnessing the birth of a new era, and we must ensure its survival." As night fell, the world stood on the precipice of change. Inside the shielded facility, Nicholas and Vega gathered with other hybrids, their minds linked in a vast network of shared consciousness. They began to formulate a plan, one that would bridge the gap between humans, Tak, and the newly emerged hybrids. Meanwhile, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough in her research. She burst into the room where Nicholas and Vega were coordinating with other hybrids, her face flushed with excitement. "The hybridization process," she said, her words tumbling out in a rush. "It's not just physical. It's affecting the fundamental genetic structure of both species. This could be the key to solving the Tak's reproductive crisis and even addressing long-standing human genetic disorders." As the news spread, the atmosphere in the facility shifted. The potential implications of Dr. Chen's discovery added a new layer of urgency to their situation. Nicholas and Vega exchanged glances, knowing that the coming days would be crucial in determining the fate of 3 interconnected species and the future of Earth itself. As the first rays of sunlight pierced the horizon on the 7th day, the air around the facility crackled with tension. Nicholas and Vega, their minds still linked in the vast network of hybrid consciousness, sensed a shift in the energy surrounding them. The protective shield, once an impenetrable barrier, now flickered and wavered like a candle in the wind. "Something's wrong," Nicholas said, his bioluminescent skin pulsing with concern. Vega nodded, her newly developed senses picking up on the fluctuations. "The shield is destabilizing. We need to alert the others." Before they could act, alarms blared throughout the facility. Dr. Chen's voice echoed over the intercom, her tone urgent. "The shield is failing. Multiple breaches detected." Outside, Agent Smith's reinforced team seized the opportunity. They advanced on the facility, wielding weapons that emitted a strange, pulsating energy. The air hummed with the sound of their approach. "Those aren't standard weapons," Jason observed, his enhanced vision picking up details invisible to normal eyes. "They're designed to target our hybrid physiology." Lyra, standing beside him, nodded grimly. "We need to organize our defenses. Now." As Jason and Lyra rallied the hybrid community, dividing them into strategic groups, Nicholas and Vega felt a familiar presence in their minds. It was Zalia, her thoughts reaching out to them from the orbiting Tak ship. "The shield's instability is caused by an unexpected interaction with Earth's magnetic field." Zalia's voice echoed in their minds. "We need to recalibrate our systems, but it requires direct interface with the ship's core." Nicholas and Vega exchanged glances, understanding the implications. "We'll do it," they responded in unison. In a flash of light, they found themselves teleported aboard the Tak ship. The vessel's interior pulsed with an otherworldly energy, its organic technology responding to their hybrid physiology. Back on Earth, chaos erupted around the facility. Agent Smith's team breached the outer defenses, engaging the hybrid defenders in close combat. The air crackled with energy as advanced weaponry clashed with newly developed hybrid abilities. A young hybrid named Arya, her skin shimmering with iridescent scales, ducked under a blast from one of the incapacitating weapons. She retaliated with a burst of bioelectric energy, sending 2 of Smith's operatives flying backward. Nearby, Jason and Lyra moved in perfect synchronization, their military training amplified by their hybrid strength and agility. They cut through Smith's forces with ruthless efficiency, leaving a trail of unconscious bodies in their wake. As the battle raged, Reverend Hartley's voice boomed through megaphones at the edges of the military cordon. "Brothers and sisters, the time has come to cleanse this abomination from our world." His followers surged forward, clashing with General Blackwood's human Tak combat units. The air filled with the sounds of shouting, gunfire, and the crackle of energy weapons. Inside the facility, Dr. Chen and her team worked frantically, their hands flying over holographic displays. "We're close to replicating the hybridization process," she muttered, her eyes fixed on the data streaming across the screens. "If we can control it, we might be able to find a solution that satisfies everyone." Aboard the Tak ship, Nicholas and Vega navigated the twisting, organic corridors. They found the ship's core, a pulsating mass of energy and biocircuitry. As they began the recalibration process, their minds merging with the ship's systems, they stumbled upon something unexpected. "Vega, look at this," Nicholas called out, his hand hovering over a hidden panel. As they investigated, they uncovered a chamber filled with advanced technology, unlike anything they had seen before. Terraforming technology, Vega breathed, her mind racing with the implications. This could change everything. Their discovery was cut short by an urgent message from Jason. The facility is overrun. We can't hold them off much longer. Nicholas and Vega redoubled their efforts, pushing their hybrid abilities to the limit as they worked to stabilize the shield. The ship's core pulsed in response, sending waves of energy coursing through their bodies. On the ground, the three-way battle reached a fever pitch. Agent Smith's team pushed deeper into the facility, their weapons leaving a trail of incapacitated hybrids. Reverend Hartley's followers clashed with military forces, their makeshift weapons proving surprisingly effective against trained soldiers. Inside the facility's main laboratory, Dr. Chen made a breakthrough. "We've done it," she exclaimed, her face illuminated by the glow of success. "We've isolated the gene sequence responsible for the hybrid transformation." As night fell, the energy shield around the facility suddenly flared to life, its strength renewed. The attacking forces found themselves pushed back, unable to penetrate the now solid barrier. In orbit, Nicholas and Vega stood before the terraforming technology, the weight of their discovery heavy on their shoulders. They had stabilized the shield, but now faced a decision that could alter the course of both human and Tok history. "What do we do now?" Vega asked, her eyes reflecting the glow of the alien machinery. Nicholas took her hand, their hybrid skin pulsing in unison. "We go back," he said firmly, "and we face whatever comes next. Together." As they prepared to return to Earth, they knew the battle was far from finished. The facility remained under siege, surrounded by hostile forces. The hybrid community, caught between human fears and Tok needs, faced an uncertain future, and in their hands they held the power to potentially reshape worlds. The next few hours would determine not just their fate, but the fate of 3 interconnected species, and perhaps the future of humanity's place among the stars. Stars. Nicholas and Vega materialized back in the facility, their minds still reeling from the discovery of the terraforming technology. The chaos that greeted them was a stark contrast to the eerie silence of the Tok ship. "We need to find Dr. Chen and General Blackwood," Nicholas said, his skin pulsing with urgency. "This changes everything." As they navigated through the crowded corridors, they noticed a shift in the atmosphere. The hybrid community, now larger and more diverse, moved with newfound purpose. Some hybrids stood near the walls, their hands outstretched, manipulating the energy field that surrounded them. Vega watched in amazement as a young hybrid created a small opening in the shield, allowing a group of allied scientists to enter. "Our abilities are evolving," she murmured. They found Dr. Chen in the main laboratory, her eyes fixed on a holographic display. General Blackwood stood beside her, his face etched with concern. "Dr. Chen, General," Nicholas called out. "We have news from the Tok ship." As they shared their discovery of the terraforming technology, the implications dawned on the group. Dr. Chen's eyes widened with excitement, while General Blackwood's brow furrowed in thought. "This could be the solution we've been looking for," Dr. Chen said, her mind already racing with possibilities. Their discussion was interrupted by a commotion outside the lab. Jason burst in, his hybrid features taut with tension. "We've got a problem. Agent Smith's team has infiltrated the facility." General Blackwood's hand moved to his sidearm. "How?" "They exploited our new shield manipulation abilities," Jason explained. "Disguised themselves as friendly scientists. They're gathering intel on hybrid physiology and the terraforming tech." Nicholas and Vega exchanged glances, their minds linking in silent communication. "We'll handle this," Nicholas said. "You focus on developing a plan for the terraforming technology." As they left the lab, the facility shuddered under an external impact. Through the windows, they saw Reverend Hartley's followers launching makeshift projectiles at the energy shield. The barrier flickered, but held. "We need to end this siege," Vega said, her enhanced senses picking up the strain in the shield's frequency. They moved through the facility, their hybrid senses on high alert for any sign of Smith's infiltrators. The corridors were a hive of activity, with hybrids of all types working together to defend their new home. In a quiet corner, they found a group of Tok males, recently awakened from stasis. The aliens looked weak, their bioluminescent skin dim and sickly. Dr. Chen approached, her face a mask of concern. "The plague," she said softly. "It's affecting them again. But I think I've found a solution." She explained her theory about the hybridization process providing resistance to the disease. Nicholas nodded, understanding the implications. "So, the key to saving the Tok UI is to continue the hybridization," Vega finished. Their conversation was cut short by a cry of alarm. Down the corridor, they saw a shimmer in the air, the telltale sign of advanced cloaking technology. Smith's infiltrators were on the move. Nicholas and Vega sprang into action, their hybrid physiology allowing them to move with incredible speed and agility. They cornered the infiltrators in a storage area, the air crackling with tension. "It's over, Smith," Nicholas called out. "We know you're here." The air shimmered, and Agent Smith appeared along with his team. He held a data drive in his hand, a smirk on his face. "You're too late. We have what we came for." Before anyone could react, a section of the energy shield behind them flickered and fell. Reverend Hartley's followers poured in, their faces contorted with a mix of fear and hatred. The storage area erupted into chaos. Hybrid defenders clashed with Hartley's followers, while Nicholas and Vega pursued Smith and his team. The facility became a battleground, with multiple factions fighting for control. Amidst the melee, Nicholas felt a strange resonance building within him. He reached out and grasped Vega's hand, and suddenly the feeling intensified. The air around them began to vibrate with an otherworldly frequency. "Vega," he gasped, "I think we're amplifying the hybridization frequency." They stood there, hands clasped, as the realization of their newfound power washed over them. With this ability, they could potentially trigger mass transformations, a powerful defense but also a tremendous responsibility. As the battle raged around them, Nicholas and Vega faced a monumental decision. The power to reshape the future of both species lay literally in their joined hands. The fate of the facility, the hybrid community, and potentially the entire world hung in the balance. The night deepened, and the battle showed no signs of abating. In the heart of the facility, surrounded by chaos and conflict, Nicholas and Vega stood at a crossroads. Their next move would determine not only their own fate, but the future of human Tok relations and the possibility of a new life on Mars. Earth, the Tok ship, and the transformed human body, all connected in ways never before imagined. As the first rays of sunlight crept over the horizon, Nicholas and Vega stood hand in hand, their hybrid physiology pulsing with newfound power. The chaos of the night had given way to an eerie calm, but tension still crackled in the air like static electricity. "We need to take control," Nicholas said, his voice low and determined. "Before this descends into all-out war." Vega nodded, her iridescent eyes scanning the facility. "I have an idea." Together they reached out with their minds, tapping into the energy that flowed through the building. As one, they began to manipulate the shield technology, creating a series of smaller barriers within the facility itself. The effect was immediate. Translucent walls of energy sprang up, separating the warring factions. Agent Smith's team found themselves cut off from the hybrid community they had infiltrated. Reverend Hartley's followers, still pressing against the outer defenses, were effectively quarantined. Inside the main laboratory, Dr. Chen looked up from her work, startled by the sudden change. "What's happening?" General Blackwood strode to the window, his face grim. "It seems our hybrid friends have decided to take matters into their own hands." Outside, the human Tok combat units reacted swiftly to the new development. Following Blackwood's orders, they formed a protective ring around the hybrid community, their advanced weapons trained outward. "Sir," one of the soldiers reported, "we're in position. No one gets in or out without your say-so." Blackwood nodded, his mind racing with the implications of his actions. He knew he was walking a fine line between peacekeeping and open rebellion against his superiors. In the makeshift command center, Nicholas and Vega coordinated with Jason and Lyra, directing the hybrid defenders to strategic positions throughout the facility. "We've bought ourselves some time," Vega said, her fingers dancing over a holographic display. "But we need a long-term solution." As if in answer to her words, Dr. Chen burst into the room, her face flushed with excitement. "We've done it!" she exclaimed, holding up a small, glowing vial. a stable hybrid embryo created entirely in vitro. The implications of her announcement rippled through the room. This breakthrough could change everything, offering a path to controlled hybridization without the need for intimate contact between species. Before they could fully process this development, a familiar presence touched their minds. Zalia, the Tok Supreme Matriarch, her thoughts clear and strong despite the distance. "My children," her voice echoed in their heads, "I believe I have a solution that may satisfy all parties." As Zalia outlined her proposal for a joint human Tok colony on Mars, Nicholas and Vega exchanged glances. The idea was audacious, but it offered a way forward, a chance to escape the increasingly untenable situation on Earth. Their discussion was cut short by a piercing shriek that filled the air. Agent Smith, in a last-ditch effort to regain control, had activated a hidden device designed to incapacitate the hybrids. Nicholas fell to his knees, his nervous system on fire. Around him, other hybrids cried out in pain. But even as the agony threatened to overwhelm him, he felt something else, a rapid shift in his body's chemistry, adapting to the assault. Within moments, the pain began to subside. Nicholas stood, his body tingling with new strength. He looked around to see other hybrids recovering, their faces a mix of confusion and newfound drive. Outside the facility, Reverend Hartley watched in disbelief as his followers' efforts to breach the defenses continued to fail. The hybrid's resilience in the face of Smith's attack was the final straw. With a heavy heart, he raised his hands. "Enough!" he called out, his voice carrying over the crowd. "This is not the will of God. We must seek understanding, not destruction." As Hartley's followers began to stand down, Nicholas and Vega seized the moment. They stepped out onto a balcony overlooking the gathered crowds, human, Tok, and hybrid alike. "We stand at a crossroads," Nicholas began, his voice amplified by the facility's systems. "But we also stand on the brink of a new frontier." Vega continued, her voice blending seamlessly with his. "We have the technology to transform Mars, to create a new world where all our peoples can thrive together." As they spoke, holographic images flickered to life around them, showing visions of a terraformed Mars, of hybrid colonies, of a future where humanity reached for the stars with their new allies at their side. The crowd listened in rapt attention, the earlier hostility giving way to a cautious hope. Even Agent Smith, his plan in ruins, found himself considering the possibilities. As Nicholas and Vega concluded their impromptu speech, a message came through from the world's leaders. An emergency session had been convened to discuss the Mars colonization proposal. In the following hours, the facility transformed from a battleground to a hive of activity. Dr. Chen and her team worked tirelessly, refining the hybridization process and exploring its potential to cure genetic diseases in humans and combat the plague affecting Tok males. As night fell, a group of volunteers gathered in the main hangar. Nicholas, Vega, Jason, and Lyra stood at the forefront, ready to embark on humanity's greatest adventure. The massive doors began to open, revealing the starry sky beyond. A sleek spacecraft, a fusion of human and Tok technology, stood ready on the launch pad. Nicholas took Vega's hand, feeling the pulse of their shared hybrid physiology. "Are you ready?" he asked. Vega smiled, her eyes reflecting the starlight. "For Mars? For a new world? Always." As they boarded the ship, the first human Tok hybrid couple, to lead this historic mission, they knew that the challenges ahead were just beginning. But for the first time since the Tok arrived on Earth, there was a sense of unity, of purpose, of a shared destiny among the stars. The engines ignited, a brilliant blue flame cutting through the night. As the ship rose into the sky, carrying the hopes of two species, the facility below, once a symbol of fear and division, now stood as a beacon of interspecies, cooperation, and the limitless potential of their shared future. As the ship ascended into the night sky, those left behind at the facility watched with a mix of awe and anticipation. The successful launch marked the beginning of a new chapter in human Tok relations, but the work on Earth was not nearly finished. In the days that followed, the facility buzzed with activity as preparations for the Mars colonization mission entered their final phase. Nicholas, Vega, Jason, and Lyra worked tirelessly alongside their team of human Tok hybrid volunteers, fine-tuning every aspect of their upcoming journey. On the 10th day, as the first light of dawn painted the sky, the colonists gathered near the newly constructed launch pad adjacent to the facility. The interplanetary vessel, a testament to the combined ingenuity of human and Tok engineering, stood tall and proud, its sleek form gleaming in the early morning sun. Dr. Chen and her medical team conducted last-minute examinations on the colonists. As she reviewed the data, her eyes widened with excitement. "This is remarkable," she exclaimed, turning to Nicholas and Vega. "Your hybrid physiology has developed an enhanced resistance to radiation. It's far beyond what we initially projected." Nicholas raised an eyebrow. "How significant is this development?" Dr. Chen's face lit up with enthusiasm. "It's crucial. This adaptation will provide substantial protection against the harsh Martian environment. It's further proof of the benefits of human Tok integration." As the colonists boarded the ship, a sense of anticipation filled the air. The launch countdown began, each second bringing them closer to a new frontier. Suddenly, alarms blared across the facility. General Blackwood's voice crackled over the communication system. "We have a security breach. Extremists have penetrated the outer defenses." Through the launch pad's observation windows, they saw a group of figures rushing towards them, the remnants of Reverend Hartley's followers, their faces contorted with desperate drive. Nicholas and Vega exchanged a quick glance before springing into action. They tapped into their enhanced hybrid abilities, their movements fluid and synchronized as they coordinated with Jason and Lyra. "Form a perimeter around the ship," Nicholas shouted, his voice carrying an authority that galvanized the hybrid defenders into action. The human Tok combat units under General Blackwood's command engaged the attackers, their advanced weapons creating a cacophony of sound and light. The extremists pushed forward with fanatic zeal, but the seamless teamwork of the hybrid defenders began to turn the tide. Vega's enhanced senses picked up a familiar presence amidst the chaos. She turned to see Agent Smith approaching, his hands raised in a gesture of peace. "I'm here to help," Smith called out, his face etched with grit. "My agency has reconsidered its position. We want this mission to succeed." Nicholas eyed him warily but nodded. "What can you tell us about these attackers?" Smith quickly briefed them on the extremist group's tactics and weaknesses. Armed with this inside knowledge, Nicholas and Vega adjusted their strategy, coordinating with the combat units to neutralize the threat efficiently. As the last of the attackers were subdued, a hush fell over the launch site. The colonists emerged from the ship, their faces a mix of relief and renewed commitment. Zalia's voice echoed in their minds, carrying waves of calm and reassurance. The Tok Supreme Matriarch appeared on a large screen, her bioluminescent form glowing softly. "My children," she intoned, her voice rich with emotion, "may the wisdom of our ancestors guide you on this journey." She began to chant in the ancient Tok tongue, her words weaving a tapestry of hope and unity. The ceremony was broadcast worldwide, a powerful symbol of the new era of human Tok cooperation. With the blessing complete, the colonists returned to the ship. Nicholas and Vega took their positions at the helm, their hands intertwined as they interfaced with the ship's controls. "New Dawn, you are cleared for launch," General Blackwood's voice came through the comm system. The engines roared to life, a brilliant blue flame cutting through the morning air. The ship rose majestically, climbing higher and higher until it was just a gleaming speck in the sky. As they breached Earth's atmosphere, Nicholas and Vega felt a surge of excitement. They activated the experimental faster-than-light drive, a fusion of human theoretical physics and Tok practical applications. The stars around them blurred into streaks of light as the ship accelerated to unprecedented speeds. Nicholas and Vega gasped as they felt a deep connection forming between them and the ship's systems. "Are you feeling this?" Vega asked, her eyes wide with wonder. Nicholas nodded, equally amazed. "It's like we're becoming one with the ship. This could revolutionize space travel." As they hurtled toward Mars, the crew began preparations for planetfall. They activated the terraforming equipment, initiating the long process that would gradually transform the Martian atmosphere. After what seemed like mere moments, the red planet loomed large in their view screen. They entered orbit, carefully selecting a landing site in a vast Martian canyon. As they began their descent, the ship's sensors picked up anomalous energy readings from beneath the Martian surface. "What do you make of this?" Jason asked, his fingers flying over the control panel. Lyra leaned in, her brow furrowed. "It's like nothing we've seen before. Could it be artifacts? Or maybe signs of past life?" Nicholas finished, his voice barely above a whisper. The ship touched down with a gentle thud. Nicholas and Vega led the first landing party, their hybrid physiology adapting quickly to the alien environment. They moved with ease despite the lower gravity and thin atmosphere. As they planted the flags of Earth and the Tok homeworld side by side in the rust-colored soil, a sense of profound accomplishment washed over them. They had taken the first step towards a new future for both their species. The team began setting up the initial habitation modules, designed to accommodate both human and Tok physiologies. As they worked, their minds buzzed with questions about the mysterious energy readings. Nicholas gazed out over the Martian landscape, his enhanced vision picking out details in the rocky terrain. "Once the base is secure, we'll organize an expedition to investigate those readings," he said. Vega nodded, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "Who knows what we might find? This could be just the beginning of our discoveries here." As the first Martian day drew to a close, casting long shadows across the alien landscape, Nicholas and Vega stood at the entrance of their newly established base. The rust-colored world stretched out before them, full of mystery and promise. "We've come so far," Vega murmured, leaning into Nicholas. He wrapped an arm around her, feeling the steady thrum of their shared hybrid physiology. "And we have so much further to go," he replied, his gaze fixed on the horizon where the first stars were beginning to appear in the alien sky. As the first Martian night gave way to dawn, Nicholas and Vega prepared for their expedition to investigate the mysterious energy readings. They assembled a team of human Tok hybrids, each chosen for their unique skills and enhanced abilities. The group set out as the Martian sun crested the horizon, its pale light casting long shadows across the rusted landscape. They moved with fluid grace, their hybrid physiology adapting effortlessly to the lower gravity and thin atmosphere. As they descended into a deep canyon, Vega's enhanced senses picked up a faint vibration. "There's something here," she whispered, her eyes scanning the rock face. "It's coming from beneath us." Nicholas nodded, feeling the same resonance. He ran his hand along the canyon wall, fingers probing for any irregularities. Suddenly, a section of rock shifted under his touch, revealing a hidden entrance. The team activated their portable lights as they entered the structure. Dust swirled around their feet, undisturbed for millennia. As they ventured deeper, the energy readings grew stronger, guiding them through a maze of ancient corridors. Finally, they emerged into a vast chamber that took their breath away. The walls were lined with unfamiliar technology, pulsing with a soft blue-green light. At the center stood a towering crystalline device, its facets refracting the light in mesmerizing patterns. "This isn't human or Tok," Jason murmured, his eyes wide with wonder. As Nicholas and Vega approached the central device, they felt a strange resonance within their hybrid bodies. The crystal began to pulse in sync with their heartbeats, and suddenly, a holographic interface sprang to life before them. Symbols and images flashed across the projection, too fast for human eyes to follow. But Nicholas and Vega's enhanced minds processed the information at an incredible speed. "It's a database," Vega gasped, "an entire civilization's history." Nicholas nodded, his pupils dilating from the influx of information. They were the original Martians, an ancient, advanced species that mastered interstellar travel. The holographic display showed images of a dying red giant star, planets crumbling under its expanding rage. Then sleek ships launching into space, carrying precious cargo to distant worlds. They sent seed ships, Vega realized, to Earth and the Tok homeworld. As they absorbed more of the database, the truth became clear. The ancient Martians, facing extinction, had carefully selected worlds to carry on their legacy. They had guided the evolution of life on both planets, setting the stage for humanity and the Tok to one day meet and create a new hybrid species. Nicholas initiated a download of the database, And as the information flooded their hybrid minds, vivid visions of the ancient Martian civilization unfolded before them. They saw great cities of crystal and light, witnessed scientific achievements beyond their wildest dreams, and felt the profound sadness of a species facing its end. As the download completed, Nicholas and Vega turned to their team, their eyes glowing with newfound knowledge and purpose. "We need to get back to the colony," Nicholas said urgently. "This changes everything." The team made their way back to the surface, their minds buzzing with the implications of their discovery. As they approached the colony, they were met with an astonishing sight. The Martian landscape was transforming before their eyes. Patches of red soil had given way to lush vegetation, and the sky above seemed to shimmer with a thickening atmosphere. Dr. Chen rushed to meet them, her face a mixture of excitement and confusion. "Something's happening to the colonists," she explained breathlessly. "Their rate of adaptation has skyrocketed. They're developing abilities we never thought possible." Nicholas and Vega shared a knowing look. The ancient Martian influence, combined with their hybrid physiology and the unique Martian environment, had triggered a new phase of evolution. As they entered the colony, they saw colonists levitating objects with their minds, communicating telepathically, and manipulating matter at a molecular level. The terraforming process, supercharged by these new abilities, was progressing at an astonishing rate. Nicholas addressed the gathered colonists, his voice carrying a new authority. "What we're experiencing is not an accident," he began. "It's the culmination of a plan set in motion eons ago." He and Vega took turns explaining their discovery, watching as understanding dawned on the faces around them. The convergence of human and Tok species, the hybridization process, their journey to Mars, all of it had been orchestrated by the ancient Martians to unlock the dormant potential in both species' DNA. As the implications sank in, a sense of shared purpose swept through the colony. They were not just settlers on a new world. They were the heralds of a new species, one that combined the best of humanity and the Tok, enhanced by the legacy of the ancient Martians. With their newfound abilities and knowledge, the colonists began to reshape Mars at an incredible pace. They constructed magnificent structures that seemed to grow organically from the Martian soil, blending advanced technology with natural elements in ways never before imagined. Nicholas and Vega stood at the heart of this transformation, guiding their people with wisdom drawn from the ancient Martian Database. They established a global network of consciousness, connecting all inhabitants in a harmonious web of thought and purpose. As the first Earth day on Mars drew to a close, Nicholas and Vega looked out over their rapidly changing world. The red planet was becoming a vibrant tapestry of blues and greens, a testament to the power of cooperation and the untapped potential that lay dormant within their hybrid DNA. "We've only just begun," Vega said, her eyes shining with the light of countless stars. Nicholas nodded, feeling the pulse of their shared destiny. "Tomorrow, we reshape a planet, and after that—" He trailed off, his gaze turning to the stars above. As night fell on the transforming Mars, the hybrid colonists prepared for the monumental task that lay ahead. The ancient Martian legacy burned within them, a beacon guiding them toward a future limited only by the bounds of their collective imagination.
You have reached the end of the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to support us, please leave a like and subscribe to our channel, and for every comment that says 88, I will heart every single one of them. Thank you for your time.